Now we got kind of a cool thing. We're going to spend, I have kind of a series of coins right here that I want to do that we have in the flag core holder. And this flag core holder in NGC is the result of what's been happening to the coin business over the last 6 or 8 years. What they've done is we've always kind of done, I was the very first person to sell modern issue certified coins. That was right around the turn of the 21st century. 2000, 2001, even some 99s I did, right? And so I did those coins. And it became the backbone of the hobby is modern American issue certified coins. And so people, in an attempt to, in essence, kind of differentiate themselves or kind of get some extra money that perhaps I don't think they're deserving of, they do different labels and this thing and that thing and the other thing. And all of a sudden there's 86 different labels and you need, you need a computer just to keep track of the different labels. And I said, let's go back and let's do this old school. So here's what I did. We went to NGC and we said we want a specific core. The core is the thing that holds the coin. This is actually an interior piece of an inert plastic that's in there. And so they said you can give you the flag core. So I'm the only one that can sell the flag core. So in NGC with the flag interior, the flag core, I'm the only one that can sell it. And as a part of that, the thing that I'm doing is going back old school, is we have one core, the flag core, exclusive to me, and one holder, and one label. So you have the label and the holder, and that's that. Now, the only subset of that is we did a New Year's Eve edition in flag core that we sold only on New Year's Eve. I am doing an Independence Day edition, and this is our last special edition for the year. So we did a New Year's Eve, we're going to do an Independence Day kind of mid of the year, and then that's it. So this is going to be the last of the special issues. This is only available, this is my final presentation of this, and the population of this, in other words, how many of these are in existence, which is very important to the value, is simply based on what I have sold over the last 3 shows when I've sold this. Currently, the edition is 516. Currently, the edition of the Independence Day Mint State 70 American Silver Eagle is 516. What I can tell you is, given the quantities that you have here, we are going to have an edition that's going to be under 1,000 coins. That makes it spectacularly rare. It can be purchased absolutely, positively nowhere but right here from me, from HSN, right here, right now, guaranteed lowest price. And if you follow the Independence Day coin that's happened out there in the marketplace, we sold it at the same price, and it brings substantial premiums in the marketplace today, particularly as flag core is starting to catch on. So like I said, all old school now.
All old school for sure. Again, that presentation box is included. It's $33.32 on your credit card. Remember, Mike is not back until well past the 4th of July or the Independence Day holiday. And regardless, anytime he does a special issue, which, by the way, and he just